predicting who's going to win between G2 and Fnatic with the way the teams are playing now.
Fnatic set a new pace. They're not scared, they're gonna double. Now Hansama running for his life. G2 got the better of that fight in spades.
That's like impossible, I feel like.
Fnatic are currently on a 5-0 winning streak, and if that weren't impressive enough, G2 had to go and one-up them. They're 6-0.
These teams are like so even, but I can see some lanes where it can be an advantage for one team. Top lane, Wunder is one of the absolute best top lanes in Europe right now.
The guy has incredible numbers just in the laning phase alone.
Wunder is first in all of the categories for top laners.
I don't really feel like Wunder has this impact that perhaps sOAZ has. sOAZ is much more willing to give up his lane advantages to get the team ahead.
sOAZ is overextended, guys. If you look at the minimap, you can see 4 Fnatic members really far away from sOAZ.
The others are gonna kill me this time. I got top touch.
You will never really see Wunder do anything in particular together with his team.
AD carry wise, Rekkles over Yarnan, 100%.
I never really feel like any pressure playing against him.
Yarnan has been getting Tristana for free way too many times already and kind of just running under the radar against us. I'll make sure that he is not playing a champion that should not be played.
I also want to look at Jankos. On fire at the moment.
Black's still gonna block the majority of the CC a little bit more. Will connect. Yarnan leaves in. PerkZ there for the cleanup. That's gonna be 2. G2 with the explosive.
Broxah, we don't always see him much in the early game, and he just kind of becomes a support.
That both me and Jankos are just going to look at the mid lane constantly and make sure that our mid lane is winning, because I think the mid lane matchup is going to decide this one.
You can't take anything away here. It's Lane Kingdom versus baby, teenage, whatever faker. The reason we call him that, he's so damn good.
Oh, Shurima Shuffle!
But he's going up against PerkZ.
Off into the 80 carry. They've already found Mickey X, though PerkZ deletes him, and PerkZ and Yarnan, just the 2 carries alone, are taking the fight to Misfits. This guy is a madman.
I think Fnatic is the only team that could potentially stop us. Every other team doesn't really have a chance. I'm gonna actually do something and just call a G2 vs Fnatic finals already.
Welcome back to the LCS studio for our match of the week between G2 Esports and Fnatic. There we see him, the man himself, PerkZ in the mid lane for G2 Esports going up against Fnatic. And Rekkles waving to the crowd. He's feeling good, he's feeling relaxed, so hopefully that gives us an intense game and a lot of team fights. Also joining me to cover this game is Vedius as well as Splice's Nisqy and Kobbe. Welcome guys and congratulations on a fantastic victory just now.
Thank you.
If you guys calm down, it was kind of a quick ending.
Yeah, I mean, we were a bit hyped just when we won, but it settled down pretty fast.
Well, you can get hyped again because this match of the week is definitely a hype matchup, and the winner of this game will take sole possession of first place. And the reigning champions G2 should have a good chance, as they have shown in the last couple of weeks, on a 7-game winning streak so far. So last time these 2 teams met, it wasn't the highest level yet. Kobbe, how do you think G2 has evolved since then?
I mean, just watching G2, what are they on, like a 7-win streak or something? Where they looked pretty shaky in the first couple of weeks, but I think they're just a team like our team, they just need time, I think. And it's starting to like really show now, and I think even more when playoffs comes around.
Yeah, they are definitely on a roll. Nisqy, that mid lane matchup, we're looking very intently at it. What can you tell me about PerkZ versus Caps?
I mean, I think it's going to be like a really close matchup, but I think if Caps makes a mistake, for example, and I think he might make, because PerkZ is like, I would say better in general, but we know that if Caps gets ahead, then he will just like 1v9 the game. So I think they just have to put Caps, like calm down Caps.
Yeah.
I mean, just camp him or something, and then PerkZ will just carry. From
So you think if either one of these laners gets an advantage, they have the ability to take over the entire game?
Yeah, I think that's what will happen.
All right, they have to be careful for that. As said, Caps and Fnatic also on a winning streak. Currently 6 games in a row, almost matching G2's form. And let's take a look at the rest of the lineup as well. Vedius, because these guys also look on fire, and we've talked a lot about how they have a very different style to G2 Esports.
Oh, that they do. When it comes to Fnatic, I feel like a lot of their strength comes from their ability to team fight right now. Their ability to group up and work together as a 5-man unit is very different from what it was at the beginning of the split, but I feel like that they seem to be refining that style and really enabling players like Rekkles and Caps to really shine in these fights and just be a destructive force that other teams can't really deal with.
You mentioned Rekkles. The bottom lane is a big talking point, Kobbe. A lot of people are saying, well, Rekkles totally has the upper hand over Yarnan. What do you think, and what influences is that going to have on the game?
I wouldn't say totally, but I agree that I think Fnatic's bot lane is a bit stronger. Not only like in the laning phase, but also just in terms of game knowledge, I think they're maybe a bit better. But I wouldn't say it's like a huge mismatch. So.
Not a huge mismatch. We're about to get into picks and bans, and I want to get your predictions before picks and bans. Nisqy, who's going to win and why?
G2 because PerkZ will Smurf.
Versus Smurf, Kobbe?
I'm going to go with G2 as well.
G2 as well for
with my Danish brother.
Of course, I can understand that. And Vedi?
I predicted G2 yesterday. I have to stick with my G2 prediction. When this happens, though, the analysts are often wrong, so I'm now getting a little bit concerned. But I'm going to believe in G2, and after their clean performance yesterday, I expect them to reciprocate.
My desk has no faith at all in Fnatic. All 3 votes going towards G2 Esports. Well, maybe we will become a bit the wiser as we go into picks and bans and see what these teams will go for. The beginning of the bans coming out for G2 Esports, Jarvan and Xayah.
So, Kobbe, I've immediately got to go to you. We've been seeing a lot more Tristana. We heard Rekkles talk about Tristana being a strong champion. Why is Tristana so strong, and why are we seeing so much priority on it right now?
I mean, I think Tristana is just like generally the strongest AD carry because she kind of does everything except for strong laning phase. The first few levels you just have to play a bit safe, but you have one of the strongest. Like you just go to the side lane, you can push towers as fast as you want. You just farm up, and you have one of the best like 3-item spikes.
We're not going to see her though.
No, she's very well rounded, and she will be taken off the board. It's interesting, yeah, that G2 would actually choose to ban away the Trist. Do either of you have any ideas as to why G2 would want to ban it away?
I mean, I was expecting Fnatic to ban it last. I'm trying to think a bit here.
So in my head, I'm sitting there thinking that the reason why they might buy it is because they have priority elsewhere in things like the Gangplank, and they didn't want to run the risk of leaving the Trist open for the opposition to then pick up for themselves.
You seem to be right, because they go for that first pick Gangplank for Wunder. Wunder a bit flying under the radar, Kobbe. You know him very well, of course. He's been crushing it this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to see him doing so well. And I know GP is also a big comfort pick for him. I think he's one of the best GPs out there. So
yeah, we see what Fnatic is picking up in first rotation, Braum and Skarner. Now, very interestingly, that's also what they showed yesterday, and they keep going with that for Broxah.
Yeah, so the thing about Skarner is with the introduction of Predator, he's definitely become a much stronger jungler. Nisqy can probably speak a little bit more as a mid laner. How obnoxious is it to see this Skarner running at full pelt down that middle lane?
I mean, the problem like Skarner is that you need a mid with like kind of mobility, I would say.
Right.
And even though if you have like mobility, then you have to like build QSS. And then even if you have QSS, you know, he still has like stuns and then slows and stuff like that. So that's why I think it's OP right
So
now.
right now, Azir, Ryze are both open. Do you think that either one of those champions would be a good answer to something like a Skarner, or would you maybe go for something that you brought out, like the Veigar, and use something like the stun to try and stop Skarner getting on top of you?
I'm not sure. I think they will probably pick like Azir, I would say. If I was PerkZ, I would probably play Azir here, and Caps would probably like play like Corki or something like that. And
makes sense.
Yeah, he has been doing really, really well on Corki. However, yesterday he pulled out the Veigar together with the Skarner to make it extra annoying.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe he goes for that. But we have a Vladimir pickup most likely for the top lane.
That's what we would expect. Typically, when you have the Vlad into the GP, you get a free farming lane where you're then able to scale up and add a lot of value in team fights. One of the big things that Fnatic is missing right now is their AD carry pool. So I would imagine G2 would look to try and pinch this, Kobbe. What do you think would kind of be the best 2 bans for G2 right now?
I mean, I'm looking at Ezreal at least. I'm not a big fan of the champion myself, but I think it should be good here for Fnatic. So I would probably ban Ezreal. Yeah. Second one, I mean, if this was G2 against Splice, I think Caitlyn would be the second ban. But I don't think Rekkles likes Caitlyn that much. So second ban, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, the bottom lane matchups and the mid lane matchups is what we were most talking about beforehand. We only see the Varus so far for Yarnan, but I'm very excited to see what comes out in that mid lane and in that bot lane. I said Ezreal banned out, Taric banned out as well, so definitely some pinching going on, and Azir taken off the table as well.
Yeah, so Fnatic might try to save their mid lane pick for as late as possible to give Caps the favorable matchup. I'm looking at possible picks here for G2. In terms of the bot lane, it feels kind of narrow. Do you think that this is a good opportunity for G2 to go for something like a range support, like maybe a Janna, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, Janna has good matchup into Braum, and you just basically perma-push the lane. Oh, actually.
Oh, Sivir.
Yeah, I like this pick. I mean, it depends. They can still go range support, but Sivir into Varus, you just basically try to press W on every wave and just push as much as you can and get pressure.
I think it synergizes very nicely with the Skarner as well. A lot of teamfight value coming out from Fnatic. Now, Nisqy, I got to turn to you once again. Final mid lane pick. G2 seem to have everything going for them. Do you think Azir makes the most sense here?
I mean, Azir is banned at this point.
That's a good point. They banned it. Yeah,
we have pro players on the bench.
I mean, I think he's gonna pick Ryze, and Caps will probably go with the Cassio, I would say. I think it's either Cassio or Corki, and yeah, I think he will pick Ryze.
Do you think Cassio works on the current patch?
I think it works in certain comps, but actually the Orianna makes sense here because they kind of want to run at them, and Cassio is not great. Cassio is like good if you like, you know, disengage.
Okay.
I think he will most likely pick Orianna actually.
I mean, maybe we got baited by the Draven Orianna hover, which Hylissang always does. Does seem like it, because they weren't. They didn't lock it in. Viktor, is that likely? It seems like it. Nisqy, shine your light on this matchup. Ryze versus Viktor.
I think Ryze has the push early game, and then once Viktor gets like the upgrade, like the first one, and then he maxes E, that's when like he can push the wave, I would say. But I think Fnatic just wants to scale, to be honest, and that's why they pick Viktor.
So if we have to say that one or the other team has won the draft, which composition do you guys favor, Kobbe?
I mean, I really like the Fnatic comp though, but then again, I do like my Sivir comps. I can just see them later on. Sivir presses ult and Skarner, Vladimir running at them. So I actually like Fnatic's comp a lot.
Okay. I also think Fnatic's comp is just easier to play. It's just straight up team fight. Like you have so much mobility in the comp too. G2, how much importance do you guys have when it looks to me like a 1-3-1? How much do you think an early game lead is important here for G2?
I think if they don't get ahead and Fnatic can scale for free, I think they will probably lose the game, but I trust G2 to win the early game.
Okay.
Well, you all voted for G2, but you're saying that the Fnatic comp is pretty good, Vedius and Kobbe. So do you guys want to change your vote, or do you think it's in danger?
I'm going to stick with G2. I think that they will be able to get an early lead. I'm looking at Jankos to be the one to build it.
Jankos to be the one to build it, Kobbe?
I mean, I'm still biased because of Wunder. But after seeing this, I kind of want to change it to Fnatic.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll do it.
Nisqy?
Nah, I'm keeping G2.
So 2 G2 votes and 1 sway to the Fnatic side for the side of Kobbe. Fantastic matchup. G2 versus Fnatic, our match of the week. Let's kick it off with our casters.
Thank you very much, Sjokz and the gang, and welcome back to the stage. I've joined my main man, Martin Deficio Lunga, along with all of the Irish. Cheers, Schlansha, congratulations on the Six Nations win earlier today. But now another battle is on the cards. Fnatic against G2. The winner will have undisputed control of the league for a full week, Deficio. Undisputed.
Maybe longer if both teams keep winning after this game. Yeah, both teams are currently on that winning streak. 7 games for G2, 6 for Fnatic. Really dominated. The only 2 teams to be consistent in the EU LCS. And that's why them facing each other now, when they're playing at the highest level during the season, is great.
Truly a battle for the throne. A early taste. A lot of people have been saying this could be the split final.
Yeah, let's get it out of our systems. Clash of Kings, Kings, Throne.
We're done.
There we go.
Okay,
it's
we're
out.
done. All right.
Let's talk about something else.
All right, talk about something else, and I'm gonna immediately look at this top lane. Gangplank, Vladimir. The fact that Wunder was allowed to get Gangplank, such a top-tier pick.
Yeah.
But I like the Vladimir into it.
See, the moment we saw the Tristana ban, we were both like, oh, I mean, obviously they're gonna first pick the Gangplank. Ooh, Hylissang cheesing around the mid lane.
Let's see what PerkZ can do. 2 shots, concussive blows is just about to proc. A siphon power to the face, and Caps walks away.
And let's talk about why this is so smart from Fnatic's side. Ryze, we just heard Nisqy talk about it, gets to normally push early in this matchup. You can't do that when you get chunked down like this very early on. That's the first take of his little potion being used, and suddenly Caps with the control.
Well, let's see what Caps can do to use that control. Of course, we talked about the win streaks. We talked about the 2 teams. G2 Esports on a 6-game winning streak. 7 with yesterday. Fnatic.
Nice save.
Got it. It was 5 and now 6, thanks to both teams winning yesterday, but only one winning streak will continue as we play out this game and figure out who continues.
And you mentioned the Vladimir match up top. It's been a good pick for sOAZ. He's very good in teamfights on it. He's not afraid of diving into that back line every single time he has the chance. And the laning phase is not really much of an issue once you get a few levels under the Vladimir belt. And that means Fnatic should be fine on top side, and it becomes a scaling matchup between Wunder and sOAZ.
Oh, very, very exciting. As of course, both teams over the last year and a half, Deficio, 8 wins apiece when G2 faced Fnatic and Fnatic faced G2, but Broxah with a little bit of an early gank in here behind Fnatic and Wadid. The Hustle blows is going to find a stun. Fnatic, heal has been used. Teleport starts to get channeled. First blood of the cards here for Fnatic, and Fnatic goes down. Rekkles picks it up. It's not done yet, as Wadid will be taken out, and that's a double kill for Rekkles.
Best start possible. Skarner's in the meta. He's considered one of the best junglers now. One of the reasons this early game he is very, very strong, especially if you have CC in the lane to enable his ganks. Broxah just snuck around that mid lane, walked all the way down behind the bottom lane, because G2's wards, they were placed top side to trying to protect Gangplank, but it was bottom side that Fnatic looked for the first play. No flashes used by G2. Hylissang did have to use both his summoners, but he got 2 kills for it, and they went on to Rekkles. Oh, he didn't even go through mid, he just walked down.
Yeah, just
no, okay.
Through the river. I think he came through the
I was like, I'm pretty sure he walked around, and he did. But notice how again the wards are placed topside from G2. Thinking, okay, maybe Broxah makes a play there, but it gives him a free gank bot lane. There's a little ward in the side brush. It's not going to help you ever on the side of G2, and I like to play from Hylissang. Aggressive, knows he lands the first little hit, and it's going to be a kill.
Oh, so well played by Fnatic. Early game execution to get the advantage, and Deficio would be loaded up into the game. We actually have the 2 players in the EU LCS with the highest number of kills so far this split. It was PerkZ and Rekkles, both of whom loaded into this game with 46 kills. Rekkles on par to hit 50 this game, thanks to him picking up 2 already. So you know how I like to track those unique stats.
So 50 is now where you win.
It's just another accolade.
Another achievement.
Another achievement indeed.
Well, 2 early kills. Couldn't ask for a better start. Jankos, will he try and return the fire? Can't really gank the bot lane because they push on the turret. We'll have to just walk back around the mid lane. The Analyst desk with Nisqy and Kobbe talked about how G2, they felt like they had to win the early game.
Right.
The comp for Fnatic, great scaling with Viktor, Vladimir, Sivir. The Sivir ult to buff up things like Skarner even more. And G2's start, pretty bad.
It is pretty bad, and it's something that Rekkles sort of knew was coming. Earlier in the week on the Euphoria podcast, Rekkles said, and I quote, "I also know we're more than fine bots. We're most likely going to win our lane unless they get Tristana," which they didn't get because it was banned. And of course, with the Broxah gank, that just sets up Rekkles, the captain, the forefront of Fnatic, to start to take over this game.
Yeah, there's some good banter between the teams. G2's are calling Rekkles the budget Yanen. Fnatic are calling Yanen the budget Rekkles. So far with the early start, I guess advantage for Rekkles. I would also say with the achievements earned and past performances, I would say also advantage Rekkles for now. Yanen wants to try and prove him wrong, but with this tough start, it's hard to do a lot because Broxah also stays around the bottom side. We talked about the scaling match up top.
Yeah.
That's why he's not spending any time there. He wants to just kill the bottom lane.
Buy some time, and talking about those bottom lanes, Rekkles came back into lane with the Berserker's Greaves. We'll get to that in a moment or two, because Jankos sniffs out some opportunities here behind sOAZ. sOAZ uses Chemo Plague already on Wunder, gets tagged up, forced to flash. There's the Cannon Barrage, stunned up once again. Wunder and Jankos fancy the dive, but very easily picked up the tower. Not going to be enough for Jankos, so there's not enough minions. G2 get the first kill.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, Fnatic wants to respond.
All right, where are the flashes? Yawnin did have them available. That's a knock-up onto Hylissang, but he's choked down. Yawnin's already out. The tower shot takes out Hilly, and Wadid, with the swag points, is able to escape. PerkZ looking for a follow-up onto Cat. He channeled his teleport to jump in the fight, so there's just a 1-for-1.
A lot of action right here. Important to note, sOAZ doesn't go stopwatch very often, so he didn't have it here for this tower dive against him. He died. That was a kill over to the GP. Very important for G2 Esports. Meanwhile, Fnatic instant cross-map play on the bottom side. Ended up in a 1-for-1, but poor Yanen died again, and this time he lost his flash. So this is the first gank. We know Fnatic are playing bottom side. Jankos, there's plenty of time to do this. There's no stopwatch for sOAZ, so they can't really use it here, you know, and boom, haha, you can't kill me. Instead, Jankos gets it and gets enough HP back after. Yanin, it's like maybe he can try and get out. He goes down though, and they buy enough time to actually kill Hylissang, plus G2's mid laner showed up to make it a 1-for-1.
Yeah, really good teleport. Actually, didn't realize quite how early that was from PerkZ.
I mean, they call it instant when their jungler shows top, they're like, careful bot, they're gonna show up. And then he's ready. I like the action. No one is just sitting and farming in the lanes. A lot of focus around early ganks from the junglers.
And Hyonin, by the way, down 20 CS, down 0-1. So Rekkles is 2-0-1. Can't say I'm terribly surprised in terms of how the decision-making and the playstyles have worked out in Fnatic. Coming up to 10 minutes, they've got themselves an early lead, at least in terms of their AD carry. But it hasn't equated yet into map control. No tower first blood, no cloud yet, unfortunately, no dragon yet, because it's a cloud. So where does the priority come from? Is Fnatic can just look to chip away this tower, or?
Well, now when you're this far ahead bottom side, you can always secure the first Drake, because the enemy can't really fight against you. I gotta look top again, because I think G2 can go for another play to try and kill sOAZ. Jankos plus PerkZ with ulti, that should be enough. So we might see this again, where they keep cross-mapping each other. And Fnatic controls bottom side and G2 controls top. Because if G2 can go first with their tower dive, they can get first turret. And you know bot lane right now is kind of doomed.
Yeah.
You have a Rage Blade AD carry who's been forced back to base twice. So it's going to take a while for Yanin to get his first item in this game.
On the bright side, once he gets that item, it will be a very big spike. Now, what can Jankos do? Level 7, flash is available to him, but he's going into double flash lane with Rekkles and Hylissang and decides to just clear the ward and back away.
And this is where I would prefer Jankos to be topside. I think going for a bot lane play here against Sivir with Spell Shield, it's really hard to pull that off when your AD carry is also this far down. I think topside, where you constantly have pressure and there's no stopwatch on the Vladimir, that is your play if you're G2 Esports.
We'll see if Jankos eventually decides to go that route. For now, continuing to farm out. We've not looked at PerkZ and caps a huge amount. It's only when they impacted those side lanes, but even standings, tier build here for caps on Viktor. sOAZ takes a powder kick to the face and he's forced to run back.
And we know it might be a race against time here, because both teams are looking to kill the first turret just on the different sides of the map. Broxah is ready for another gank bot lane. No flash Yanin. Unless Alistar headbutts the Skarner away, there's no way to escape. There is a Predator movement speed buff plus a flash Skarner ult. It should always secure a kill if he gets close enough. Good job wave playing from G2 side, but the Id going a bit aggressive, shouldn't. He's not looking to try and go for kills here.
Just looking for that counter trade. Well, in the mid lane, PerkZ and caps are trading away. A couple of overloads onto caps' face. Rune Prison buys some more time. But as it stands, Rekkles and Hilly pushing bottom. That tower under so much threat. And Broxah, remember, Flash and Pale is available to him. Another good interrupt here from Wadid, buying some time. Spell Shield used by Rekkles, but the minion wave dies. And as it stands, Hyonin and Wadid, they're just fending off wave after wave of pressure from Rekkles and Hylissang. Continues to escalate that CS lead, still plus 20 in favor of Rekkles.
There's a tier for caps in this game, something he's done in solo queue as well, where he goes tier into Seraphs into Lichbane, and that becomes like his core with, of course, the Hex core on his side, and then he gets actually a ton of extra shielding. It's not the Abyssal Mask Icebound Gauntlet tank build, but it is insane amount of shield build after the buff to his Q, so he's gonna be very hard to kill, but it's not HP you always expect to be there, because it's just additional shielding happening for him. I want to see how that works for him in team fights. PerkZ might get ganked.
Well, here comes Broxah, Flash Impale onto PerkZ. Now PerkZ is running for his life. The Realm Warp will just finish, and Jankos with the Glacial Prison for the save. PerkZ escapes with his life. It did cost his Flash, though.
So this could buy time for G2. The fact that the Flash ulti is now on cooldown. Wunder keeps controlling top side. He's been winning lanes almost every single game during this split. It's the best laning stats out of any top laner in Europe, and he's doing it again.
Yeah, take a look. Plus 20 CS Deficio, Trinity Force completed, and with that Kleptomancy Gangplank build, he's already up 1,300 gold over sOAZ. And that's terrifying when you see the team gold is very even at 20,000 gold per team. And that's obviously because Rekkles is up 1,100 over Hyonin. So different strengths, different advantages, and teams are going to have to figure out how they use those advantages, as PerkZ says to Caps, I'll send you to Valhalla today. You know what it's like there, because they make great hot dogs, apparently.
Yeah, they do.
The pulsar, right?
Yeah. That's kind of the joke of it. Cause
yeah,
Caps tweeted earlier that he would like to go to Valhalla because of the hot dogs.
There you go.
Yeah. You gotta follow the players on Twitter, Trevor.
I'm getting very old now, Deficio. So my age, keeping up with you youngins is difficult. And unfortunately, I need you
Maybe
to
if you spend less time posting pictures of yourself all the time and followed what happened on
you are 100% right. I should do that, and I'll take it under advisement. PerkZ hasn't done anything about sending Caps to Valhalla. Yet. There's still time. And we'll have to see whether or not the help of Jankos will
also
enable PerkZ.
Fun fact about that tweet, going to Valhalla is actually a good thing. Because it means you're a great warrior and you
earned the rights.
Yes, and going to Valhalla is it's like paradise, basically. That's where every Viking warrior wanted to go. So I think Caps would be okay with that, seeing as, traditionally, that is where you want to be.
That would mean Caps has to earn the right. And we'll evaluate this. I'll get a review from you later, Deficio, whether or not Caps has done so. Because he's currently behind in CS. PerkZ is shoving him in. Broxah is now once again fancying an opportunity. I'm looking for the Impale. We'll have to catch up with them back later. As no, we're going to look now. Fight in the mid lane. Broxah and Caps running away. There's the Impale. Straight under the turret. Not going to be enough. Broxah gets taken down by PerkZ. Caps runs for his life. Now sOAZ is in trouble. Or is it the other way around? Chemo Plague will give a big chunk of healing to sOAZ as Wunder's sent packing. And G2 pick up the kill.
Yeah, that little advantage in the bottom lane from Fnatic earlier did not result in a tower going down, and now we actually see G2 suddenly controlling mid. We know Wunder's winning top lane already. There's 2 turrets in the side lanes that would take a lot of damage on Fnatic's side, and PerkZ just turned around and picked up a kill against Broxah. This Skarner play around mid, the first one was fine to force a summoner. The second one, that was overforced.
And of course, with PerkZ getting on the kill board, he now is at 47 kills this split. Rekkles leads at 48. Caps at 45.
Oh, look at the replay of PerkZ killing the tower live.
Yeah, the live replay. Definitely the bait. Now we're in the replay.
So Broxah here just charges forward, tries to catch him, then realizes, wait, I have no flash, and there could be an enemy jungler around, so he gets caught out. And while he just tried to grab Jankos and pull him on the turret, did not happen. G2 wins the trade mid. Important play from them. Broxah is still waiting for that flash ult to be ready. And we're still kind of waiting for G2 to secure top lane turret, because it's getting really low.
It really is. No other towers secured yet as we get close to 15 minutes. G2, Deficio, have built themselves up another advantage in the early game. They're up nearly 2,000 gold. Wunder's done a great job in the top lane. PerkZ been enabled by Jankos, and despite Hjarnan getting killed a couple times thanks to Broxah's play, G2 are looking good in the opening stages.
And we saw a clear plan from G2 saying we don't need to end a laning super quick by just constantly killing sOAZ. Jankos was protecting mid instead, and a little bit bottom side with some vision, just trying to buy a little bit more time for Wunder to keep being a bully on top side. And now they can still get the turrets down and create this goal lead. Broxah has been trying to be super active. He's been involved with every kill so far, but it's only bot lane he's found success.
Can you do it again? Hjarnan and Wadid, all summoner spells up and available. It's an optimistic dive, if any. But teleport is up for sOAZ, so we'll see if anything happens here.
We have to remember that PerkZ are controlling mid now, so he gets to roam first. Either go bot lane in case a tower dive happens, or go top and make the aggressive play. This actually sucks a bit for Fnatic, because when PerkZ gets to roam on Ryze, it makes you play more passive in side lanes, because you know he will show up before my mid laner, because that's a Viktor with cleanse.
And of course, QSS picked up for PerkZ to help counteract some of that hard CC that's coming down from Broxah and from Hylissang. Was so important into this Broxah Skarner pick. And we'll see if Broxah's paid attention. So many times at pro play they don't look at the items early enough. Chaos Storm used here from Broxah just to clear out the wave, mitigate any potential threat of a dive, and PerkZ is forced to back away from the mid lane.
And we know Fnatic wants to scale with the comp. It's all about getting to late game team fighting with Viktor, Sivir, and Vlad, but they gotta make sure they don't fall too far behind early. G2's comp can easily play 1-3-1 and just keep pressure on multiple lanes after the tier 1 turrets go down. Jankos is now looking towards the aggressive play on top side. We've mentioned probably 5 million times.
Hasn't come early enough.
It's fine. They've been buying a lot of time where they haven't lost the bot lane turret, so as long as they defend the bottom side, they could take their time.
Got it. Well, they've done exactly that, Deficio. Tower of First Blood picked up. And it's Wunder that secures that bonus gold. sOAZ forced to use the W defensively, and Fnatic, they'll smell their opportunity at a cross map. A Mountain Dragon in 17 minutes. That's going to be quite valuable as the game plays out, but at what additional cost?
Well, let's see top lane, because Jankos might look for more.
All right, flash away from sOAZ. Just to get out of range of that Glacial Prison. Wunder's going to get some extra autos on the tower, and Broxah does pick up that mountain.
Wunder's ult and TP is ready in case something happens bottom, because Fnatic spent a lot of time killing Drake now, while G2 already got top and tower. We got to fight.
Chain of Corruption starting to spread. Hylissang forced to run for his life. Good amount of damage onto Hyanin, but there's no minions to work with.
And Fnatic valued the Drake, knowing it could be risky going for tower due to GP's globals. They did get the dragon down in their favors. They have 2 now. Jankos will get Rift held top. Wunder gets to recall, spend all his gold, already fully completed 2 items.
And still has the stopwatch available.
It's looking good for the GP, and G2 will get this held without losing a turret due to the globals Wunder could bring. So Fnatic are forced to just keep waiting, also falling further behind. This could be a mid lane turret with this Rift held.
All right, 1 tower to 0. G2 Esports are up a little over 3,000 gold. And their early game, despite Hyanin getting picked on, has been very good. The fact that Hyanin's got to his Rage Blade, picked up that recurve bow, starting towards his second item. There's a Herald to unlock another tower. This is looking good for G2. So where and how do Fnatic pull this back? I mean, Broxah, going to be very difficult to catch perks. sOAZ, I suppose, can come in at the flanks, but the opportunities just haven't presented themselves yet.
Yeah, we know top lane, they can't really win at the moment. Mid lane as well with the Viktor. We've already seen PerkZ dance around and survive ganks, plus the QSS stops him from being a target against Broxah. So bot lane is kind of the only lane where they could have a bit of an advantage, but Rage Blade is completed for Hyanin, so that's not even a big one at all, because now we need to wait for Rekkles to get all his crit items with that Essence Reaver. So right now, I don't feel like Fnatic really sits with a lane they can try and abuse, and that makes it a little bit harder, because we might see 3-0 turrets for G2, while Fnatic are just stalling and stalling and stalling. And I gotta tell you one thing.
So cheeky.
This game, no matter how far ahead G2 gets, Fnatic can wave clear for days.
Yep.
Sivir, Viktor. It's back, everyone. You never, ever, ever have to fear the minion waves if you're Fnatic. You can just kill them instantly.
And it's so terrifying that they've got the stall tactic of Viktor Sivir. Gravity Field comes out. That's going to pull PerkZ backwards. He's going to be forced to use that QSS out to safety.
Now's your time, Broxah.
And of course, having a Vladimir on the side means all of the time that Viktor and Sivir will buy you, just allow Vladimir to eventually take over. All right, where is Shelly? She's going to charge up, get a good bonk on the tower, and takes it out. So tower 2 falls just before 20 minutes. G2 aren't done yet, Deficio. They're still grouped up in the mid. They can peel back into the jungle or push that inner turret.
It will be a lot easier getting the bot lane turret now that you can push deep. Oh, I got a fight here.
There is indeed. Broxah flashed over the wall, caught PerkZ. Remember, he used the QSS a moment ago. Here comes sOAZ. Chemoplague's already thrown down. The first victim is Hylissang. Chemoplague pops. There's no follow-up from Fnatic, and Hylissang goes down. G2 win the fight.
Let's see that fight again, because it looked like they were focusing 2 different targets. Broxah did the right thing. PerkZ QSS was on cooldown. Meanwhile, G2 now gets a lot of damage on the bot lane turret. There's another wave coming, and then they kill it. So, let's see what Rekkles is actually hitting in the fight. Because Broxah flashes over. It's a nice little trap they're trying to create here. He's hitting Jankos, then he gets to turn on to PerkZ, and yeah, there's simply not enough time to actually take down the Ryze, and he gets to flash out, and now, Fnatic, 4v5 towards the end, still end up losing the support.
Oh man, look at that. Wunder, first pick Gangplank, currently 1-0-2, starting to take over the game. Fnatic, they set up some shenanigans on the top lane, but they're down 5,000 gold at 21 minutes. And while, yes, they can stall, they're going to have to stall a hell of a long time.
That's kind of what we talked about with how it's okay for Fnatic not to win early game, but you need to avoid just falling too far behind. You need to avoid losing all 3 out of turrets too quickly in the game. Bot lane is not down, but Wunder is going to secure it very easily for himself. Meanwhile, G2, they know they can either play 1-3-1. Ryze is super strong. Can't die to the Skarner due to QSS.
Yep.
Wunder is winning his side of the lane as well. So you have 2 side lanes winning for G2, which means you will get pressure where you can push the lanes all the way down towards the tier 2 Fnatic tower, take over the jungle on the side where Ryze is playing, because he's the one without teleport, so you got to play to his side. And then eventually, you can either get a tier 2 tower or Baron. Like, one of the two objectives will be open for you. And as long as G2 keep the tempo up, they're going to be fine.
Well, there's the tower falling.
Ryze is coming as well.
Number 3. Let's see what PerkZ can do. Uses the Realm Warp. That's going to be a flash from sOAZ for the cost of that Realm Warp. And Deficio, you said that G2 can play to that side lane when PerkZ is. The entire EU LCS has been playing to the PerkZ lane because since he joined the EU LCS, made 4 finals, won 4 of them, 2 Worlds appearances, and G2 Esports, since they started winning, Fnatic have not even lifted a trophy. Have not even been in a final to try and defend their title. Rekkles, of course. 3 finals, 2 titles, 3 Worlds appearances. But for Fnatic, if this isn't the split where they make it back, when will they?
Yeah, I mean, that is a great question. Looking at the fact that G2 and Fnatic are the clear top 2 teams in Europe during this split, looking at the fact that Fnatic only replaced 1 member from the lineup they had last year, so they should come in with an advantage in terms of the synergy and knowing, you know, how to play with these different players. Rekkles talked about this on the podcast where he said it's a failure for Fnatic to not have won EU LCS in 2 years. Because when you play for Fnatic, just like when you play for, again, Real Madrid in football, or the Patriots in the NFL for all the American viewers, you gotta win.
Yep.
Everything else is a disappointment.
Yep.
And that's just the thing. It's not even about making the final or making top 4. You need to win.
Especially on a team with a legacy like Fnatic's. 5 EU LCS titles in the first 6 splits that took place. Now G2 will get their hands on their first dragon here, 24 minutes in. It is a mountain as Fnatic can't contest. They're still so far behind as Island goes wild.
This could be very good, the Mount Drake, nice one. The fact that we know G2 will have to take a Baron to actually get into that base against Sivir Viktor. So G2 can use it to their advantage. Now we get that set up. Push in as many lanes as possible. Top lane is pushing with just minions. Mid and bottom pushing with champions. Wunder is like, he's just making fun of sOAZ.
Deficio, in this game there's a second QSS now. Kianen's picked it up. So where does Broxah look to have some impact? I mean, yes, he has some additional CC, but it's so difficult for him now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like G2 were like, oh, you're going to pick Skarner? We're going to pick a bunch of champions who are good against Skarner. GP, Alistar. You don't really want to hook the Sejuani because she's the big tank anyway. She wants to be in the front. One thing we do see, however, is when the fight starts, as long as Skarner is not the main engage, oftentimes people do feel forced to use the QSS early against another kind of CC.
Right.
And then Skarner can still find a target.
Now we'll see Yamazua tweets the deep dive Viking lore from Riot Deficio. True story, Deficio is a Viking aficionado, and he likes to remind all British people that at one part in history, Danish Vikings controlled the United Kingdom. Now I call hooey on that. I can see a bunch of Irish people turning their heads going, nonsense.
To be fair, we never invaded Ireland because there's nothing of value there.
Oh, that's not fair. Broxah escapes with his life after getting burst down. His flash was used, but G2 Deficio, they turn their attention to the Baron.
And you know I can only make that joke now when we have all the nice Irish guys here.
With a lot of very nice-looking Irishmen, they'll have a word with you after this, Deficio.
Baron can get a picture after, it's fine.
Baron gets started off here, and here comes Fnatic. If G2 pick up Baron, this could be game-ending. Caps running for his life. Realm Warp, I think, was cancelled. There is PerkZ, is now getting away from the teleport, completed by sOAZ. Wadid decides to re-engage. The ultimate goes down, and Caps is on the board. The burst from the Chemo plate. That's a flash tag from Winter's Bite. Wunder eats an orange, and it's okay for now. But there's no further follow-up. Fnatic, they get a kill back, and what next?
Well, buy time. Farm some more. Go later into the game where you can win team fights. See if you get a turret maybe for some extra gold. Mid lane is the one they're looking at. Can they steal a blue buff? Hylissang tried, didn't get it. But this is good for Fnatic. Just buy more time. Don't lose early Baron so that you lose more turrets. The tier 2s are still there, Trevor. They're still pretty healthy. The wave clear comp is here. We are seeing static shift Sivir, so the wave dies even faster. We know the Viktor can just kill it. Look at the engage first onto Caps in the jungle. It's only PerkZ and Wadid trying to go for him, and PerkZ didn't even get in range to deal damage. Meanwhile, Caps just chases them out of the jungle, and sOAZ shows up, and now there is a kill going over to Fnatic. No Baron being taken. That one didn't work.
Not that time around, but flashes down. So Hyun and Wadid, Wunder, all without their flashes. Look on the side of Fnatic, it is only Broxah and Hylissang missing theirs. And importantly, Rekkles 3-item spike, Eye Edge, Essence Reaver, and that static shift, so his damage is now huge.
And the tier for Caps almost ready. Once he can upgrade to Seraphs, we have this super shielding Viktor build. The Q, of course, the Seraphs itself on his side. A lot of mana on this Viktor, because we have to remember, of course, with the little Hex Core, you get 400 mana as well. There's also 250 mana on the Lich Bane. So this is a mana stacking Viktor into shield stacking Viktor, who might never die.
Well, we'll find out. 2-0-0 for Caps. He's currently 46 kills on the split, catching up to PerkZ's 47. And Caps is going to have to not die if Fnatic want to claw this back. If Fnatic want to make up the deficit, buy for time. Broxah, by the way, he's got that Righteous Glory now picked up, so he's going to be looking for more targets and trying to be that initiator.
And I think a few minutes ago, the Fnatic players might have been a little bit nervous, being like, okay, this is a little bit too fast now. We are losing too many things. But after that little return kill, the fact that G2 have not been able to get a tier 2 turret down, and it might only be like a 30-minute Baron, I think Fnatic is saying, okay, guys, just stall. Yeah, we got it now. This is okay. Because once we get 3 items on this Viktor, the carries on G2's side, they're not ahead.
No. 2.5 items. Wits End Rageblade versus Essence Reaver, i.e. Static Shiv, which is a gigantic damage difference.
Yeah, 3,000 of this gold lead, it's all on the Gangplank against the Vladimir. 80 carries, looking at them against each other. Rekkles is currently ahead, gold. Mid laners, there's a 1,000 gold lead for PerkZ, but he had to spend a lot on QSS because he's against Skarner. So right now, it's actually pretty even among the carries, except for top lane, where GP, of course, is miles ahead.
Yeah, really big difference. You can see the gold values on your screen. Of course, reminder, we are playing patch 8.3, so those AP item changes have not yet come into effect. We'll see those next week.
Oh, next week's going to be such a fiesta.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what new champions come into the meta. But before then, G2 and Fnatic have to play out this game, and there's still another Misfits versus Vitality to follow. But for now, the clash of former European dominant teams in G2 and Fnatic.
Well done.
Is starting to build up, because I thought it was over. 10 minutes ago, I thought Fnatic had been smacked around enough that they might not be able to get back up. And they found the one pick onto Wadid, delay that Baron, stall the game out, and now it's the wave clear game until Fnatic are ready to pick a fight.
I guarantee you, when we do the EU mic check for this week, there's going to be Fnatic saying, don't worry, guys, we always got late. Just stall, we got late. That's all they're communicating to each other. Notice how Fnatic are not looking to do anything aggressive, unless G2 overextends forward. I think G2 need to be more aggressive around the Baron itself if they still want to force a fight where they feel like they have an edge with the Gangplank. This play around G2 turrets has not really been that useful because the waves die so quickly.
Yeah.
And if you then can't tower dive onto, let's say, a Viktor, you don't remove the wave clear. And Fnatic are not moving out of the base to fight you unless they really have to. Now they know that Dragon has been taken, so they can go in and kill the Baron wards. See if they do anything else.
Well, gain control of the Spire, the Scuttle Crab as well is going to give some vision to Fnatic.
And they run away.
Yeah, stall tactics, like you said, Deficio.
Yeah, it's...
Buy for times, get those items up. I mean, Caps, Void Staff now completed. The tier, as you said, been fully stacked for a little while. But for Fnatic, they've only got one tower secured in the mid-outer. So there's a top tower that's untouched. Bottom tower is pretty low. So for Fnatic, there's standing gold that's available to them if they decide to push past the river. But that would imply putting yourself in a slightly more risky position, which they're not yet ready to do.
Oh, no, no, no. When you get the Rift Scuttler for Fnatic, it's to run away faster.
Okay.
And, of course, get a bit of vision around Baron that stops G2 from rushing it down. Look at, can G2 do like a two-man Baron with this? Like, Varus plus Sejuani could definitely take down the Baron if the rest of G2 are kind of baiting around the map. But as long as Fnatic keep vision in the Baron pit or near it, they should see that. And we get the same kind of setup. Funny enough, Fnatic's been such an active early game team for most of this split. We've seen a lot of plays, focused around the mid lane with Caps or Rekkles and Hylissang winning their bottom lane. But in this game, they were fine saying scaling, scaling, scaling.
And to be fair, Broxah did have a great gank on Sjokz and Wadid. But after that, wasn't able to take further advantage. Wasn't able to push that anymore. So 4 dragons, by the way, have gone down. 2 mountains on the side of G2, a mountain and a cloud on the side of Fnatic. The Elder Dragon will come up a little after 36-ish minutes. 36 and a half. And that will be another threat that Fnatic can't ignore. Right now, they've been able to stall around the Baron. And and they're just going to be a little careful as this game continues to play out.
Because typically if you are G2, you want to have mid and top lane push so that minions have to go down to the turrets of Fnatic, and you get access to the enemy jungle, plus the river where the Baron is at. But the waves again get killed very quickly, and Sivir always just instant kills the mid lane wave. So they don't really get enough time, they feel like. I still think they can start the Baron and just turn for fight. I like this.
All right, well, Hylissang threw down that ultimate.
Look at Viktor, he's pretty far away.
Catch out PerkZ. Viktor's going to start making his way in. sOAZ is channeling the teleport. Baron's down to 2,000 HP, but look at the back in. Wadid is zoning them away. G2 Esports secure the Baron. Impale locks down Wadid, and there's damage going over the wall. sOAZ locked inside, cannot escape. It's a 1-for-1 in terms of the fight, but G2 get the objective.
It was just a matter of time before G2 would get the Baron. Sadly for them, they had to wait 32 minutes to actually secure it. I like the zoning on the Skarner. There was Sejuani ult plus a headbutt from the Alistar. Let's see what happens once again. Broxah wants to get in with Flash. They deny with Jankos plus Wadid. So they do everything correct here. And it's great to get it. Now they need to get something with the Baron. Get the 3 tier 2 turrets down. Wait for next Baron. Secure that and get the base. They shouldn't be able to finish the game on just the first one. And the wave clear is still there from Fnatic's side. And it's funny, Trevor, I remember Season 4 when we got into casting and in the EU LCS, it was the Ziggs mid lane meta. We had these games where the one thing you had to remind people of 5 million times was wave clear, wave clear, wave clear. And now we're seeing it again with the Viktor coming back.
Well, it's only appropriate with two teams with as storied histories.
Very true.
G2 and Fnatic. And of course, Rekkles is no stranger to Sivir on defense either. I've seen games, I remember, even from last year, when he wave cleared for 50, 60 minutes and actually turned games around.
This is good by G2 though. We said this, get the Baron, get the tier 2 turrets down. Rotate PerkZ to mid, secure that one, rotate bot, get that one. All outer turrets are now gone. And then see if you can get one inhib turret. You can try and zone with Ryze ulti, with Alistar, and try and get a tower down because they killed them so fast.
Let's see what Fnatic do to defend. sOAZ, no teleport available. Remember, he used it in the previous fight. Whereas Wunder has TP and Cannon Barrage. And G2 Esports are 9,000 gold, up 4 towers to 1. Luckily for Fnatic, the Sivir wave clear is currently defending that outer turret, but he's going to need to do a whole lot more of that.
One of the only answers against all the wave clear is you tower dive. Either you tower dive where the Sivir is, which is hard because of the spell shield and her mobility, or you try and play it in on the other side of the map where she's not. So if Vladimir, and they tried to shut down sOAZ. It actually worked early, but then later, we've kind of seen G2 stop trying to abuse the Vladimir. There's no Hourglass to buy more time for sOAZ, so he is a target they can take down once Pool is on cooldown. But it's not really been happening, and it's one of the reasons Fnatic can keep wave clearing, because they play into where Sivir is sitting.
So G2.
Look at PerkZ now. This is what we want. Go bot lane, get that turret, play away from the wave clear.
Especially with Elder Dragon coming up in 55 seconds. G2 unlock the tower. They've got great vision set up deep inside Fnatic's territory in the eastern quadrant. And now G2 peel back mid, look to take up this tower. Spell shield on the Chain of Corruption. Insta-cleanse away from the QSS for Rekkles, but it doesn't defend the tower. So G2 have unlocked all outer towers. You can see the vision set up. Elder Dragon's up in 30 seconds.
First Baron was successful, man. Get all the outer turrets, get ready for a big Drake fight. While we talk about scaling and wave on Fnatic side, G2's comp also scales very well. Late game GP with full crit can always win your fight. One barrel plus ulti that hits the backline, AD carry is gone. So Wunder can definitely still carry late. And the Rage Blade built on a Varus, if he's left untouched, we know he can burn through tanks. And at the moment, it's mainly Broxah who's the tank in that front line. But sadly for Varus, he's probably going to get chased down by Vladimir.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not sOAZ can find the target though, because if sOAZ isn't able to do so, the 10,000 gold difference, the lack of resources to defend. All right, Elder Dragon has spawned. Caps, by the way, has finally got that upgraded Seraph's Embrace.
Oh, but he just recalled
items
now.
On the hunt thrown down by Rekkles, but what's the decision making here? Realm Warp Not gonna get taken. In fact, there's the impale onto Jankos. He's forced to run away. The flash was used early on.
PerkZ still behind them.
Looking for the flank. Do Fnatic realize that there's no impale or flash on Broxah? PerkZ has flash available. That's it used. Hilly threw his down. Caps flashes over the wall. The target is PerkZ. The target is the king of Europe, and he's down. Caps takes him out. He's on a rampage at 4 kills. And now what can Fnatic do? They are still monumentally behind.
Yeah, but they can just go for the Drake now. Again, these carries, the Viktor and the Sivir, they're not weaker than the counterparts. They're more than ready to fight. G2, they were completely split up. PerkZ actually put up an ulti to get out. Only Wunder took it. PerkZ didn't. That's why he ended up on the wrong side. Let's see if Jankos can steal this one.
Smite is available, 3,000 hit points. Fnatic, they pull the Elder Dragon out of the pit. Steal attempt is on. Jankos is in the pit, but it is simply too late. Arctic Assault out to escape, and Wunder goes down. Fnatic get Elder and 2 quick kills.
And now Fnatic can get some of these turrets, get all the gold back they've been losing so far in the game. Look at the CS numbers. Almost 500 CS on Rekkles Sivir. Soon to be full items. 1 item missing for Caps. The Seraph is there. The shielding Viktor is ready. And this Elder Drake will give them a lot more.
It is indeed. Caps is earning that ticket to Valhalla. 4-0. Currently at 48 kills on the split. Jankos now trying to help defend with the rest of G2. Wunder, 25 seconds before he's up. sOAZ goes all the way forward. That's the flash Hemoplate. Zoning away G2. The inhibitor's the focus, and Fnatic will take it down. Let's see the escape, though, as sOAZ is forced to use that Sanguine Pool. He's escaped with his life. Rekkles Spell Shield comes up. Overload will pop it, and Rune Prison holds him in place. Hilly steps forward to take a shot, and Fnatic are back. They've got supers in the mid lane.
Oh, minions for Fnatic, Elder Drake for Fnatic, kills for Fnatic. Both the carries are getting everything. 3 on Rekkles, 4 on Caps. And now it's suddenly G2 Esports, despite being ahead in gold. They're behind for the next fight. This entire play around the Elder Drake. Look at this, PerkZ ult is there to try and get out, but he doesn't want to take it because Fnatic are moving down to where the ulti was placed. And suddenly it means he's now on the wrong side. I think the entire setup from G2 was weird, where 2 members were recalling before it actually started. They weren't in position to stop Fnatic. They paid the price. That was an easy kill.
Doesn't end there because, of course, the Elder Dragon play. Jankos went in, but it felt
They tried to go for the
optimistic.
steal. I think Wunder wanted to try and barrel it as well, but then he gets actually knocked up by Hylissang, so that was a good play from the Braum, and Wunder goes down. That cost him then the inhib turret. We're gonna get more fights now.
We are indeed. Broxah gets locked in place by the Rune Prison. There's just damage everywhere. sOAZ has already used the Hemoplate, and he's now forced to run away. Gigantic heal to bring him back up. PerkZ runs for his life as a Chaos Storm rattles across G2 Esports. But for Fnatic, no kills secured. G2 are on the run. They're backing away. Winter's Bite finds no one to sink his fangs into, and Fnatic, they're setting up for Baron.
Look at that Elder Drake. They're starting it straight away. G2 currently trying to recall, realizing they can stay around and fight this, but it's risky.
No cannon barrage, no chain of corruption, but Jankos is still sitting on that glacial prison. Does he find a target? Both junglers on the front line getting rooted and damaged, and Jankos is fighting for his life. Hylissang gets taken down by PerkZ. sOAZ looking to try flank, but Wadid is dropped in the back end, and Fnatic, they're going for Baron.
They're starting it again. G2 getting zoned by the Viktor here.
Keep an eye on the HP, not going to be enough. Realm Warp comes in. Broxah's running for his life, no flash available. Jankos gets choked down and killed by Rekkles, and sOAZ has done his job. He's kept Fnatic alive. They're not done yet. Rekkles, the first player to 50 kills, and sOAZ is going for the win.
Just got a few minions with him. They're stopping the recall from PerkZ. Wunder is going back to base. PerkZ can't do anything right now. sOAZ is trying to finish the game.
Look at those death timers. There's only 2 members of a Fnatic left. sOAZ is on the tower. Nexus turret is starting to drop. The cannon minions are doing their work. The Nexus tower's down. Fnatic have done it. Fnatic are first in the EU LCS.
Welcome to the late game. It was all about stalling, stalling, stalling. Sivir and Viktor, they kill every single wave. G2 got the first Baron at 32 minutes in the game. Fnatic had already picked up the items they needed. They were okay with that. It looked really bad early when they lost all the outer turrets so quickly. But the stalling strategy with Viktor and Sivir.
Insane game. G2 so clearly victors in the early game. Fnatic bounce back. and they are ecstatic. That one kill to go all the way back to that Baron play where Wadid ends up being caught out, going down. How much will rest on that decision? Oh man, in the Clash of Kings it delivered today. So much so that Broxah almost got taken out. But Deficio, what a game. Two clearly different strengths of team comps. Two clear differences and advantages. In Fnatic, they come out on top today.
Yeah, and the team that was supposed to win early game, they won in the early game. There's a team that was supposed to stall for late game, they managed to stall for late game. So in that case, we saw some wins for both teams during the game, but in the end, it doesn't matter for Fnatic they fell this far down when they could just keep stalling and G2 couldn't keep the tempo up. And they got outscaled towards the end.
And Deficio, so crucially now, Fnatic 2-0 over G2.
Tiebreakers, baby.
So when we get to those tiebreaker scenarios, if Fnatic and G2 are tied in the standings at the end of the split, that head-to-head 2-0 could be so pivotal.
Still expecting both teams to keep winning against most of the teams in EU LCS. It will be a pretty weird if suddenly G2 goes on a massive losing streak based on one loss to Fnatic.
Yes.
They are still a great team and we saw a lot of good things for them, from them in this game.
Deficio, while the interview's being set up, we've got that replay of the final team fight to call up onto your screen. So talk me through these final moments that led to Fnatic winning.
Well, we get to see Fnatic with all the controls. They're the one starting Baron, and they force G2 to fight in this little choke point. Notice how all the carries are on the other side of the wall. So why did you get one kill on the support? Now they have to run through a Viktor zoning W. And when two members show up, the Baron is already dead. Jankos gets destroyed. Janen and Wunder can't get in position to kill the carries. And Fnatic simply ends up winning the fight. Too much damage on their side. And sOAZ, of course, instantly calling for the finish. This is why Fnatic waited.
Man,
35 minutes.
It's insane, but it's what the team composition wanted to do. The wave clear from Rekkles on Sivir, he got ahead early. And maybe that could have been so pivotal, because if he didn't have those kills, those items from early on, how different could that mid and late game have been, which is a bit terrifying.
I know, and I know G2 is going to go back and look at this game and say, man, we could have been more aggressive. Yep. Here we could maybe have done Baron earlier. Everything to try and speed up the game, but when you're playing in the moment against that kind of wave clear, it gets really frustrating.
It does. We do have to do player of the game. After all the action, we're curious to know who you think is player of the game. So head over to @LOL Esports. You need to vote by clicking on the poll. The three suggestions are sOAZ, Caps, and Rekkles. And we are getting ready for the interview. I do, however, have to set something straight here, because on the Euphoria podcast, there was a wager. There was a wager.
Knew you were going to say it.
Can you remind me what happened on that and what was at stake?
Fine. Rekkles is the only AD carry. Everyone else simply plays marksman.
Thank you very much, Deficio.
I'll tweet it as well.
I look forward to seeing that tweet. And the reason I had to remind Deficio that he made a terrible prediction and that he lost the wager is that Rekkles and Caps are standing by with Laure.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Clash of the Kings, indeed. Congratulations, guys. I think the crowd was pretty hyped about that. Rekkles, how does it feel for you to grab this victory today?
So obviously it feels great because I got the statement from Deficio. So,
yeah, you did.
That's a plus. But for the game, I think it was really close and it could have gone either way, honestly. But I think in the end, our teamwork just showed to be better than theirs. I think we just pulled it together when it really mattered, and yeah, we just got the game in our way.
Yeah, and it was a really important game for you guys. Caps, what was your mindset going into this game today?
Farm for late. We had a composition that didn't really do much, but we didn't lose neither, and then we just waited for them to not being able to close out the game, and then we won.
And last questions for you guys. Rekkles, you guys are on top of the standings right now. You have Copenhagen on the road, obviously. What does it take for you to stay on the top and grab the trophy at Copenhagen?
So I think so far this split we've done a really good job at keeping the process good. Like even if we have dropped some games in LCS, I think we've always been looking at improving as a team and not really like getting egoistic or anything about what individuals need to succeed. And I think if we can just keep that going, then we'll always be fine as a team. And then even if people are slumping here and there, then we're always going to come out ahead because we're just performing that well together.
And you've been chosen as player of the game today. Does it feel?
Thank you. Well, it feels great. I mean, thank you.
You had all these fans cheering for you today. Is there anything you would like to say to them, both of you?
Well, I guess I've said this a couple of times already, but I kind of didn't step up to my game in the beginning of the splits. I felt really bad about that and put in a couple of extra hours, and I think I got my game together. So I feel much happier now, and I'm happy to hear people are happy about it as well. Thank you so much.
Well, and Kevs, do you want to say something?
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say thanks to the fans as usual. I think, especially the Fnatic fans at least, are always really supportive. I think no matter how bad we play, we always get really supportive messages, so that's really nice.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you both again for this victory. And now back to Sjokz and the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Laure. Absolutely wonderful interview there with Rekkles and Caps after really a monumental win for them. Looking forward, and with that eye on the final, and also with that eye on first place, right now it is Fnatic's.
Yes, it certainly is. Fnatic had a fantastic performance. They played to a style that seemed to be very exemplary of what we expected. We said at the start of the day, what are the two differences? Well, Fnatic, they love to team fight.
Yes, they do. We have a post-game analysis even for this special occasion. I don't even remember how we do this. Yes, I do. Let's take a look at the 3 moments, the 3 factors that were most decisive in this, honestly, very, very entertaining match of the week. We're going to start with the early game, because even though the mid game was a bit slow, there was a lot of action.
So initially, what we talked about on the analyst desk was expectations were that G2 would be the team to look for these early advantages, but it was Broxah looking for a lot of early ganks down in the bottom lane, spending a lot of attention trying to get Rekkles and Hylissang ahead, and it worked. These guys had a fantastic laning phase, things were looking up, and I just loved the proactivity that we saw from Broxah in the bottom side of the map. That doesn't mean G2 were slouches, because they answered back themselves up in the top side.
Yes, they answered back in the top side. They also managed to get the gold lead in their favor. In that style we know from G2, they played the game correctly, as we like to say, and it looked for a while that was going to net them a big advantage, but we were constantly thinking, all right, Fnatic obviously wants to scale, so they have to calm down.
Yes, they do, and unfortunately, Fnatic ended up in this situation where they did lose the Baron, but then the Elder Drake spawned, and they realized this is our big opportunity to find a win back or gain more control over the game, and Ryze, played by PerkZ, ended up making that crucial mistake.
Yeah, are you just going to call it out and say that was a crucial mistake by PerkZ finding him in that position?
I mean, you have to, because he could have gotten out. He could have taken the path to safety. Instead, he tries to find another angle. He thinks his team can go for the collapse, but instead, he's the one that gets collapsed upon, and with his death, G2 are forced into a lose-lose situation. Try and steal, maybe get it away, or maybe lose more members. And unfortunately, they lost the Elder, they lost more lives, and shortly after this, they ended up losing a lot more.
Yeah, they do, because Fnatic is going to turn on the Elder Dragon. I don't want to put all the blame on PerkZ's shoulders, so his teammate got caught, and then obviously the only way for him to go was up, so I think G2 is going to have to look at that and analyze that, but Fnatic on the other side, they capitalized on grabbing those members, they capitalized on getting the Elder Drake, and it really seemed like the momentum shifted back in their favor.
It certainly did. Their composition came online. The run it down mid, force a fight was exactly the style of play that they wanted, and then it set them up very nicely for the final fight around the Baron.
Yes, and the 2 people that are most important in that were the 2 carries for Fnatic. We've talked so much about them, Caps and Rekkles. And well, sometimes one of them performs well, sometimes the other performs well, but when they perform well together, it is beautiful to see.
Yeah, unfortunately for Caps, his damage per minute was a little lower than he would have liked, but he did his job. He was wave clear. He was stalling for late game. You heard him in the interview. You saw his play on the Rift. Both of them together worked fantastically, and this is just a far cry from the Fnatic at the beginning of the split, where Caps felt all this pressure to be an individual carry. Rekkles felt all this pressure to be an individual carry. Hey guys, work together, be carries together, and you get to beat G2.
Definitely. So Fnatic with that and with those 2 carries, they turn to Baron, and it will be in the end the Baron that decides the game, because they will play it out beautifully and with it end the game. So talk me through what happens in this fight.
Well, I was really all on Caps with his fantastic use of the Viktor gravity field, zoning so many members of G2, making it difficult for them to get near the Baron, but also just the sheer Baron taking speed of Skarner and Sivir. Fnatic recognized the strength of their composition, they utilized it to punish G2 into this very awkward fighting situation, and then the moment they got a slight numbers advantage and with the Baron buff on their side, They did a Fnatic classic. They went straight for the base. sOAZ TP'd in, and they were able to find themselves the win.
Yeah, turned around really fast, and Fnatic really went for that win when they saw the opportunity, and with that, now has a 2-0 lead head-to-head over G2, which could become very important as we go further in the season and we go further up in that race for playoffs and in the actual playoffs. But I gotta ask you also, what is your kind of final verdict about this match of the week on the side of G2? Because it's not like they completely got run over in most of the game, but in the crucial moments, Fnatic was able to step up.
Yeah, it's another one of those situations where I kind of feel like we're seeing the meta come into play, where team fighting is just easier to execute and you have much easier win conditions. And G2 have consistently been able to get themselves early game leads and turn that into snowball. But against a team like Fnatic that knows how G2 likes to play, they drafted a comp that answered that style. And even though G2 typically know how to play this, they weren't willing to take the extra risk. They weren't willing to put that bit of pressure onto Fnatic to force plays around the Baron. And that resulted in Fnatic stalling long enough to finally find that avenue back into the game and take the win.
So you think G2 didn't snowball enough?
Basically, I think if G2 had drafted themselves a very similar team fight comp, this would have been a much more explosive match. But I still think that if this was a best of 3, best of 5, G2 would easily bounce back and we would be in for a 5-game series.
Well, possibly that is what the future holds. We don't know. We still have a lot of action, though, today in the EULCS. Coming up next, we will have a chat with Misfits Gaming's coach Hussein Mousvi and see if Gilius can get his revenge on Max Laure as the two rivals gear up for another epic Smite battle. We will be right back with more action.
Just play how it's played, experience minus today and minus last 2 days. Minus this week.
First blood of the cards here for Fnatic, and Fjordan goes down. Rekkles picks it up. It's not done yet, as Wadid will be taken out, and that's a double kill. Broxah and Cap running away. There's the Impale. Straight under the turret, not going to be enough. Broxah gets taken down, but they're going to back in. Wadid is zoning them away. G2 Esports secure the Baron. Impale locks down Wadid, and there's damage going over the wall. sOAZ locked inside, cannot escape. The target is PerkZ. The target is the king of Europe, and he's down. For his life, no flash available. Jankos gets choked down.